Alright, into customs, and we're going to respond to a challenge today that was issued in this table for two video. So max behemoth in one turn using sauropod and peach of immortality. The challenge is very simple. It is to buy as many peaches in one game as possible. Now I do encourage you to go and watch that video if you haven't seen it already, because I am going to spoil the result. So 3, 2, 1. Table managed to get 21 peaches purchased in a single game. And he was also playing with the restriction that he wasn't going to use cat, so it was sauropod only, meaning that you're not going to be getting double, triple, quadruple the value of each peach. But if you do want to see that, you can also watch this Flame96 video. A bit of a peach of immortality craze going on at the moment. So in that particular video, Flame manages to buy a single peach that gives 105 stats, which is pretty ridiculous. I guess there have been some changes that greatly improve the overall efficiency of Peach of Immortality. It was already pretty good, but the addition of tofu makes it much, much stronger. So tofu is a new food which will give you a 2 gold copy of the last food you bought. And that means that if you find a Peach of Immortality, you then can find both tofu and another peach in order to extend the sequence. And this makes a big difference if you're trying to go for the most number purchased in a single game. And we're actually going to try and increase our efficiency even further by adding seagull with rice to create a gold generating buy-sell engine. Now in a previous version you could have used magic beans to get a golden egg on the seagull instead of rice, but that was patched out recently, quite rightly because it was very, very strong, and I think the rice is more than good enough. So we do a bit of manipulation there using the flounder, and actually the seagull giving a perk to the flounder counts as one of the 2 foods that it needs to eat to activate its ability. So we managed to get 2 chocolates there. But we've also got this level 2 crow that I have saved up. And I really wanted to include this in a video. I've tried it a few times and it didn't pan out. But if you sell the level 2 crow to get the better chocolate, and then you find a tofu, you can replicate the better chocolate as well. So that's exactly what we're doing here. We're just trying to extend the turn as much as we can. As we find our first peach, so turn 11, first peach bought, and it gives +1/1. Now we do have tofu in the shop here. We could have used that to get another peach, but I decided instead to use it to get the better chocolate, mainly because I'm on 2 hearts here. So you know, there were many other games where I was in a much better shape in terms of hearts at this stage. And I guess I should also mention that we're picking this up very late. We started on turn 9 because the game itself actually runs to, it was almost half an hour long. So I'm going to have to cut out quite a lot of material, but I don't think it's that big a deal because most of these turns are very, very similar, where we're just cycling with the seagull, and we're also you know, buying as many foods as possible to use up all the sauropod triggers and recover gold that way. So we also take Leviathan. I think Leviathan is extremely strong. I've mentioned it in other videos and it will probably be in another one fairly shortly. It effectively functions like another gold pet because we're going to get 2 gold back from selling this fish. If we still had any seagull triggers, we could have got the rice onto it as well. But more importantly than that, it's going to give us free level ups every turn, which is going to help us find more sauropods. But also giving us that 20/20 fish gives us a decent chance of not losing as well. So here you can see one of the issues that you encounter when you're trying to use the tofu method to get extra peaches, and that is if you find the tofu first. So tofu resets every turn. You have to buy a peach first before you can start buying tofu. And there were many very frustrating turns going for this where I would roll 3 or 4 tofu having not found the peach yet. Now I do take the cornucopia here. It's not particularly good for finding the peach. I think there are 17 possible options. So even though you get 3 choices now, it's still, I think, probably better just to roll. I could be wrong, but sometimes it's worth just using it anyway in order to activate the sauropod ability and get the gold back, because the second food that you purchase from it ends up being free. And we end up actually replacing the popcorn with melon, I think despite buying them both in the same turn. We can get a refresh on the seagull triggers there by buying and combining. Now we find another peach. So that's the second one. Turn 12 we've only bought 2, but things are only going to improve from here. We do manage to find another. And you can see, even with only a couple of peaches bought, that sauropod is becoming very large and very quickly. And I take the rice because I know that very soon I'm going to be selling this Leviathan and getting another sauropod onto the team to recover even more gold. Although it seems like you're going to get a lot of gold from a sauropod stack, and it for sure is broken in the context of standard customs. It's very, very possible to have a really unfortunate turn where you don't find any peaches at all, even though you end up having, 30, 40 gold, or even more sometimes. You have bad RNG days no matter how much gold you're generating. So yeah, here's another tofu, but we didn't have peach already, but I will use it to buy a chocolate and get the sauropod up to level 3. We are finding a good number of them in the shop. There were plenty of games where it took till turn 14 or 15 before I even saw a sauropod. So this is working out much better than those. So roll down. We've also got a Venus flytrap in this pack because once the sauropods are all very large, as we fast forward to turn 15 here, it's very likely that a sauropod is going to be left alive on your team at the end of each turn, and therefore you can use the flytrap to duplicate them. It does get to the point where the peaches are giving so many stats in one go that you can actually just sell a sauropod, a level 3 sauropod that has already used up all its triggers, and replace it with a new one and then just scale it up to 50-50 in one go. Now here I did end up making a mistake. I think I wasted 1 gold, or maybe it was 2 gold, because I bought the tofu when we were too close to 30 gold. If you're not aware, the limit for gold in the shop phase is 30. So yeah, with the stack of 4 sauropods here, buying 1 item of food gives us back, well, it would have been 10 gold. So I think, yeah, I probably did make a mistake there. I should have rolled a couple of times with the tofu or the peach frozen. But that was still a pretty successful turn. And I think at this stage, I'm actually at the point where I am willing to sell the seagull. Now, you could argue this is just out of fatigue. The game is going so long and the turns are lasting forever because of all the buy-selling. But actually, I'm just getting to the point, I think, where on turn 15, I'm pretty concerned that I could end up just losing, because there are going to be teams that will be able to beat this squad, regardless of the fact that we have massive stats. There are plenty of people out there who have full 50-50 teams that also have units like Leopard or Sleipnir, Cobra, lots of things that could potentially beat a raw stats team. And so I also bring in the Phoenix here, hoping that it might be able to get me a draw. Unfortunately, in this one, we end up winning. And yeah, I think in the cut, we did go down from 2 hearts to 1. So yeah, maybe that was part of the thought process there. So we don't find a peach with the first few rolls, so I will take Cornucopia, and luckily it does give me a peach. And we recover a lot of gold, back up to 25. And we're going to skip ahead again, and this time we're now on to buying our 23rd peach. The Phoenix is gone. I needed another sauropod. I think I have yet to sell a level 3, but I think sooner or later it is going to happen. Now, it is very frustrating when you get the peach and all the sauropods are 50-50 or very close, and so you're not even seeing the benefit from them. And that's where Behemoth comes in. So we can bring in a Behemoth now, and then we get this incredible roll with Peach and Tofu. So there's plus 25, 25, and then 26 on the next one. All the sauropod triggers are exhausted now though. So although we do find this oyster, we would have to sell something in order to bring it in. But we can do the same trick again. If we find another sauropod, we can sell one of the level 3s and then combine the level 1 with the level 2. Another oyster. I think we're just basically saving up for a final turn here, trying to get as many maxed out behemoths as we can. There we do find a sauropod, but unfortunately I think, yeah, maybe I am going to sell one of them this turn. I can't remember exactly what happens in this game. I think here I should just sell one of the level 3s, buy sell the oysters, combine the other sauropod. The thing is, it's difficult to give up on the 9 gold on the following turn from the maxed out level 3 sauropod. So maybe that's what's happening here. I'm not willing to sell anyone yet, but on the final turn, I will sell as much as I have to break the 30 peach barrier. So here's a very strong looking team, almost all 50-50s, but the 100-100 behemoth, or effectively 100-100, is just so strong. As long as you don't face stat reduction, you're gonna 3-for-1 a lot of the time. So here's a tofu, but we need to find a peach first. Without the seagull, we just don't have as much gold to do it. However, we do find a cornucopia, so we can use that to reset our gold counter. I take pancakes, doesn't really matter. It's just there to get the gold back. We're rolling a lot of tofu and not finding a peach, unfortunately. We don't get one from this cornucopia either, and that actually uses up all the triggers on the sauropods. So maybe I should have brought in the other sauropod first. And there we maxed out our gold. I'm not sure if that was a mistake there, if I was too close to the 30 gold limit. Yeah, I definitely made a mistake there. I think by selling that oyster, again, maxed us out. So now we can bring in another behemoth and then buy this peach, 27. So I need a few more with 24 gold remaining in order to try and get the 30 barrier. I think I will take the chocolate though. It does mean that we give up on being able to use tofu for a peach for a couple of rolls, but we do finally get another chocolate, and so we can level 3 the sauropod. And then look at this, double peach. It's so nice when that happens. You can easily go an entire game without seeing that. And so we get the behemoth, the second behemoth, to 99.99. But I think now I'm struggling to find another peach. And we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start selling stuff in order to keep the chain going. We do find one on 2 gold, so I am willing to sell one of these sauropods. I think actually what happens here is I sell 2 of them. It's very, very unlikely that I would lose or draw on turn 19 with 2 effectively 100-100 units. I think if I hadn't found another peach here, I would have just kept the sauropods for the remote possibility of the tie and then getting the extra economy on the following turn, which could have gotten us 2 or 3 more peaches, but in the end here we're going to have to settle for 31. And yeah, there's no peach left. If there was another one here, I would have sold the last sauropod as well and just run the 3 squad of behemoths. So what is it going to be for the final opponent? And it is opposing 100-100 behemoth. 2 25 damage mana snipes from the Sleipnir, but thankfully the second one misses the behemoth at the front. Otherwise, we actually lose that battle. So very happy to get away with a win there after such a long game. Now I should also mention that you can just get an indefinite number of peaches by going for an infinite draw setup. I think Table specifically mentioned in his original video that he wasn't counting, infinites, which is basically what that is. And yeah, you would just end up drawing all the way to ghost teams. And then, yeah, you can just buy as many peaches as you want. But yeah, in this one, I got 26 of them and then faced level 3 skunk as soon as I bought the behemoth. So that was pretty unfortunate. And then here's another one where I think this was 25 peaches purchased. Turn 18. We still had all the sauropods, hoping in vain for a draw there. But in the end, yeah, 25 I think was not going to be good enough. And then lastly, this one, I think this was another one where I got 25 peaches. And it gave me table for 2 as the final opponent. So I thought that was kind of fitting. It's always nice when you actually face the person who issued the challenge. Really kind of ties the whole thing together.